Hey, what's up everyone? So, a few things we're going to be talking about today: IKEA, Russia, Google, CCP ruling, biological warfare, virus whistleblower, first American coronavirus death, World Health Organization, and some shocking footage that that was taken by some Chinese people that was posted on Twitter. Stay towards the end for that. It's actually really, really shocking. Some of this content is kind of older-ish because I've been compiling this for several days, but I'll just kind of breeze through it and just kind of let you guys know what's going on. Stephen Xu Yuqian, a senior political commentator and media professional in Hong Kong, told the Hong Kong edition of the Epoch Times on January 28th that he had obtained insider information about how top Chinese Communist Party officials plan to respond to the coronavirus outbreak. According to Xu, an insider in the CCP's top leadership had told him that top officials were concerned that the outbreak would bring an end to CCP rule and discussed saving 11 cities from the coronavirus outbreak during a January 25th emergency Politburo meeting. I got that mixed up, sorry. The World Health Organization declares global emergency, quote, "Our greatest concern is the potential for the virus to spread to countries with weaker health systems and which are ill prepared to deal with it." So, as China will prove at the end of the video, the footage, universal healthcare doesn't work. Another person in U.S. has been confirmed to have the virus. Trump announced a task force to handle coronavirus in U.S. So here's the thing with that. They're actually investigating about whether or not the virus was man-made. Like they took like a virus that was already made and then they made some modifications to it and whatnot for biological warfare, which is pretty interesting. So something that I'd really like to just think about right here is Google closes all offices in China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. Google announced this on January 29th. So, isn't that pretty interesting? Google, of all people, like this monster giant, is just shutting down. Like, wow. You don't do that just for a flu. You know, this is more than just a flu. Russia blocks border with China. IKEA closes all stores in China, and U.S. colleges close overseas. So again, why would you do this for just a flu? Doctor who leaked about the coronavirus died after contracting it. Authorities reprimanded him. Epoch Times quote, On January 1st, Wuhan officials said in a statement posted on Weibo, a Twitter-like platform, that they had taken legal measures against 8 people, including Li, who had spread rumors about the disease, which caused adverse impacts on society. 2 days later, Wuhan police called Li to the police station, where he was reprimanded for rumor mongering. Li was forced to sign a confession statement in which he promised he wouldn't commit any further unlawful acts. So, what you're going to tell me is, by warning people about a sickness and how they should help themselves, and he was also warning some medical colleagues, you're saying that that's unlawful? That's illegal to... He's doing his job, he's a doctor. And you're saying, oh, it's unlawful acts. You have to sign a confession statement. Wow. On January 31st, Li posted his first Weibo message since returning from the police station. He explained how the authorities had pressured him to keep silent. Again, why are we shocked? China, China, China. Epoch Times quote, health experts and local residents have provided testimonials suggesting the true number of infections and deaths is far higher than what authorities are saying. White House asks scientists to investigate whether 2019 ncov was bioengineered. This is a follow-up report. Now the White House is getting involved. I recommend you reading the whole article to understand everything fully, and leave a link to that down below. I'll also leave a link to some other really, really cool Epoch Times articles. Zero Hedge shared this on Twitter, which then led them to being banned. One of China's top virologists, can't even talk right now, I'm sorry guys, and immunology experts was and still works at China's top-rated biohazard lab, and the Wuhan Institute of Virology, which some have affectionately called the Real Umbrella Corp. Since 2009, Peng has been the leading Chinese scientist researching the immune mechanisms of bats and carrying and transmitting lethal viruses in the world. So again, remember how this all started. Apparently, the bats had it, and then somehow the snakes got it from the bats, and then the people going to the food markets from eating the raw snake then contracted it, and then somehow it contracted from person to person. Okay? His primary field of study is researching how and why bats can be infected with some of the most nightmarish viruses in the world, including Ebola, SARS, and coronavirus, and not get sick. He was genetically engineering various immune pathways, such as the STING pathway in bats. That's an acronym. STING is a acronym. To make the bats more or less susceptible to infection, in the process potentially creating a highly resistant mutant superbug. As part of his studies, Peng also researched mutant coronavirus strains that overcame the natural immunity of some bats. These are called superbug. Coronavirus strains, which are resistant to any natural immune pathway, and now appear to be out in the wild. As of mid-November, his lab was actively hiring inexperienced postdocs to help conduct his research into super coronaviruses and bat infections. Peng's work on virology and bat immunology has received support from the National Yu Qing Fund, the pilot project of the Chinese Academy of Sciences, and the major project of the Ministry of Science and Technology. Sounding fishy? Suspicious, maybe? Anything? If you're still not convinced, I mean, here we go. As ABC News reports, the director of the White House's Office of Science and Technology Policy, OSTP, in a letter to the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine, requested that scientific experts rapidly look into the origins of virus in order to address both the current spread and to inform future outbreak preparation and better understand animal to human environmental transmission aspects of coronaviruses. Specifically, ABC News chief medical correspondent Dr. Jennifer Ashton asked the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease about the concerns that stem from misinformation online that the novel coronavirus could have been engineered or deliberately released. Again, let's think about this. The White House has good reason to question the official story, as Dr. James Lyons Wheeler of the Institute for Pure and Applied Knowledge showed and explained how the coronavirus's genetic sequence, which has been publicly released by China, contains a unique middle fragment encoding a SARS means severe acute respiratory syndrome, spike protein that appears, according to his genomic analysis, to have been inserted in the 2019 ncov virus using P-shuttle technology. This technique can only be done in a lab, as it has never occurred naturally in nature. Now also, China loves CRISPR. That's actually an acronym for something that I don't remember what it is, but essentially you can change different structures of your DNA. They've tried it on adults and whatnot. One of the scary things is that it may be used to now make the perfect baby. Like you can now figure out what color eyes you want and just different features about a person and whatnot, which is kind of messed up, and there are a lot of crazy things you can do with that. But with a human having that power to take something into their hands that shouldn't be in their hands, that's kind of scary, because it could be used to help somebody with fighting cancer or something like that, or it could be used for something really, really evil. And so it's a really catch-22 having that technology. However, that Xi Jinping had participated in a study published in Natural Medicine on November 9th, 2015, about a disease that could be caused by a SARS-like coronavirus, SHCO14-CoV, found in Chinese horseshoe bats. Connections coming? Anything? Yeah. I think things are starting to get more interesting. Researchers used the SARS reverse genetic system to generate and identify a chimeric virus. In simple terms, this chimeric virus consists of the surface of protein of the SHCO14 and the backbone of the SARS virus. The chimeric virus can infect human respiratory cells, demonstrating that the surface protein of SHCO14 has the necessary structure to bind to key receptors on cells and infect cells. Chimeras can cause disease in mice, but they are not lethal. Studies have shown that virus currently circulating in bat populations could potentially trigger the potential outbreak of SARS-CoV outbreaks. Yesterday, the first American... So I think it's pretty interesting. Like, they're already showing here that they have this technology. They have this ability to create something. I mean, I think this as another supporter for why it very well could be made artificially. The pieces of an article. I know you've been. I'll put the article on the side screen so you can read it. But this is pieces of it. It's really, really interesting. No less a figure than Dr. Francis Boyle, an expert on biowarfare, believes that the coronavirus that we're dealing with here is an offensive biological warfare weapon. Speaking of Wuhan's Institute of Virology, which is at the epicenter of the epidemic, he added that there have been previous reports of problems with that lab and things leaking out of it. We know that China has mastered CRISPR technology, again, the thing that I was telling you about with the DNA and changing things and whatnot, which enables the kind of gene splicing that is needed to create a biological superweapon. After all, it was a Chinese scientist, He Jiankui, who announced that he had re-engineered the human genome to make it resistant to HIV, a feat for which he recently received a 3-year prison sentence for. If you're intent upon genetically engineering offensive biological warfare weapons, you also need a very secure facility to ensure that they do not escape from the containment. After all, you are taking dangerous pathogens like SARS, Ebola, and various strains of coronavirus and trying to make them even more deadly. China only has one such level 4 microbiology lab, the Wuhan Institute of Virology, and is located in, you guessed it, the city of Wuhan. Alright, so this is a little bit about the video, and then we'll get right into it. Officials in protective suits are seen holding onto 2 people by their arms before a third, more resistive man is picked up from the floor and carried away in one shocking clip shared online. The footage filmed in Wuhan comes after China's Vice Premier Sun Chunlan called on a people's war against the fast-spreading epidemic. Last week, the country's central government ordered the city, which is the epicenter of the virus, to round up all suspected patients as well as their close contacts in mass quarantine camps. Now, let's watch the footage. I'd really like you guys to comment on what you think, because it's very shocking. Yes, universal health care of everyone. And we're treating humans like animals. Worse than animals. Dragging people. You don't do that. That's not health care. That's not medicine. That's nothing. You just don't do that. It's very disturbing and shocking that people could do that. And you must understand, like, why that guy was just not refusing to move, and it took 3 guys to get him out there. It was, it's pretty sad because, you're thinking about, like, these people and what they're going through. It's awful. So I will leave a link to the description below, for those things that I said I would, and just keep thinking about this and comment down below what you think. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a great day.